Mwah, babies. Mwah. So, how many of us out there in this world have said things like, oh, my ex was manipulative, or told a story about what your ex did to you, but like really from the context of like isolation, or talked about your childhood and maybe your childhood trauma, and used words like that wasn't inappropriate, or if it was bad, but never using the actual term abuse, and then telling yourself um, that that kept you from victimhood. Um, Back in my Bible thumping days, I was heavy into Joyce Myers. So anybody who knows anything about uh, non-denominational Christianity, Joyce Myers was a big fucking deal. One thing that Joyce Myers touched on always was she was always talked about how she healed herself or brought herself out of how her father essayed her whole childhood, and her mom knew. Now, we won't even get into like how white Jesus narrative told her that she had to take care of those fucking old people. That's not my business. That's not what we're here for today. But what we are going to talk about is there was a moment in her ministry, a very human moment, where she used the R word to describe what happened to her, and it kind of knocked the wind out of her, because she said in all her 30 years of preaching and referring to what her father did to her, she never used the R word. But that is actually what happened to her repeatedly. Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, quite honestly, to avoid the hurt and to avoid what actually happened to us. We meet it at a very surface level space and say, oh, this happened to me. We meet it kind of like from this outside looking in. When I tell stories about my trauma, I will literally, like, people's faces will be like, because they're listening to it, but I'm speaking from outside of it and not experiencing and being present in the trauma. Because we're just out here trying to function in these streets, right? But that's not healthy, because when you sit in it and you accept how it affected you and changed you, like, that's really where the inner child and shadow work starts. So when you're ready, it's okay to say, I'm an emotional abuse victim, I'm a physical abuse victim, and it doesn't make you less than. You're doing a great fucking job, and I'm super proud of